Now, some establishment Republicans, you might have noticed this, have kind of shied away from focusing on cultural issues in an election year out of fear that it would alienate some voters. But along with the economy, these hot-button social issues, they're driving a lot of the political energy this cycle. So states pushing radical social agendas are actually pushing residents to the limit. Some even fleeing to red states for a reprieve from all of this. In other words, people are voting with their feet. And they may be voting with their subscription dollars as well. We're talking about Netflix. Netflix has lost a lot of subscribers. Now, it's probably not one reason for this. We're not going to try to diagnose it. But they did say as well they've lost a considerable number last quarter due to pulling out of Russia. But they also project they'll lose another 2 million next quarter. So what is driving this? Has the streamer hit this kind of natural ceiling? Or is this a cultural battle playing out before our eyes, at least in part? Elon Musk is betting on the latter, tweeting of the subscriber drop, "The woke mind virus is making Netflix unwatchable." Now, it's hard not to see that as driving at least some of this. While it might not contribute to all of the decline, it sure as heck is contributing to the lack of expansion at the very least. There's Don't Look Up, the star-studded climate change movie about a world-killing comet.
There's a 100% chance that we're all going to die.
There it is! A giant comet whirling its way towards Earth. Can you see it?
Or these offerings.
Growing up with white parents, I assumed their privilege was mine.
You too good?
Okay.
Fine, thanks. Yeah, I'm good too. Thanks.
You know I'm the only black person in 4 of my 5 classes.
But you're half white, too. You can fit in anywhere.
I fit in nowhere.
Dear white people counting down till the day I graduate.
Maybe the lesson is this. When a company caters to ideology, pushes an agenda over just the needs and wants, desires of its consumers, they're going to suffer. And as Netflix shares tumble, consider this. Over the past year, no Dow stock has performed worse than this. And Disney, and we're talking about Disney and their drop. Joining me now is Amala Ekpunobi, PragerU personality and former left-wing activist. Amala, between Disney's Dow drop and the subscriber drop of Netflix, there's something happening here. What are your thoughts on this?
You know, I'm with Elon on this. I think it's this woke mind virus, and people are waking up and inoculating themselves from it. They don't want to hear this anymore, and Netflix is known to be doing this. They put out a French film called Cuties with 11-year-old girls with barely any clothes on, twerking and shaking their butts on film. They have a series called You, where they denounce people who are anti-COVID vaccine. They're full of propaganda. They've subscribed themselves to anti-whiteness, anti-racism, radical feminism, and that's what they put in their content. You can't find a piece of Netflix content that does not have leftist ideology embedded in it. And I think people are fed up with it. They don't want to pay a monthly fee to be lied to and to be fed propaganda and to be told that they are hated. So I think that's why subscribers are leaving en masse, although I think there are other contributing factors.
Yeah, Amala, I think the fact is people have limited dollars to spend. And it's like you don't want to go into a bar if the bartender is going to just scream at you and obscenities at you and say how much he hates you. You go to a different bar, right? So if you can stream other content, why are you going to stream Netflix if indeed you believe too much of the content? I'm not talking about all the content, but too much of the content is either pornified or just directly political. Now, here's a comment from 2019 from Netflix's CEO. Watch.
As a consequence of slavery, Jim Crow, and housing policy, black families in America have about 1/10 of the wealth of white families. If every major corporation takes 1% of their cash and deposits it in a black bank, it will be transformative in that sector.
So, Amala, he made a plea for reparations. He didn't use the word reparations, but I can't imagine that went over well with some of the shareholders.
No, not at all. And it's not going well with the consumers of Netflix either. I, as a Black person, do not want to hear this demeaning message about how I need help from you and how I need help from the rich and how we need to invest in Black business. What is Netflix doing for Black people or for lower income communities? Virtually nothing. When this whole Black Lives Matter scandal broke out and people were taking to the streets, what did Netflix do? They opened up a category on their streaming service for Black creators and Black content, not only segregating their consumers and creating a divisive climate, but doing nothing for Black people in their efforts. It makes no sense. It's all virtue signaling and it's all propaganda. That's all that they want.
Oh, Amala, what's wrong with having a Black writers or Black producers category?
We don't need to be uplifted. It sort of comes with this message of this soft bigotry of low expectations, that because you are a Black creator, we need to lift you up. We need to separate and create some deviation between you and other people. You cannot fix segregation with more segregation.
Well, that's just kind of a simple idea, but it really does resonate. Amala, great to see you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.